I am really ready for Halloween this year. I'm hoping we get trick-or-treaters. It's like 9:22 right now, and at night, and it's 67 degrees. I don't think anyone would be forced to wear a down jacket over their cool costume that they work so hard on. And I hope we get more trick-or-treaters, especially, that everybody's coming out of the COVID, waking up again and looking around and having some fun. So let's start. I have got, look at this. I'm talking about Primo candy, Nestle's Crunch, Twix, Dove chocolate, Snickers. I think there's like a dark Milky Way. Yeah, there's like dark chocolate Milky Way. This is prime. See, to me, Halloween is chocolate. I'm willing to accept Smarties, a little chalky, and sweet tarts. Yeah, okay, I understand. Those are good. But, you get stuff like Twizzlers, little bits of licorice, milk dud, in the trash, black cows, Zagnuts, Mounds, bleh. No, it's about the chocolate. It's all about the chocolate. I've got the chocolate. I'm ready to dispense the chocolate to those deserving and brave enough to come to the door. Got 2 pumpkins ready for carving. I figure I'll do one like traditional and may have Josh help me with his chef knives and do one like really scary and put the traditional one in the window because we don't want to scare anyone off. Anyway, I'm gonna put this a safe distance away. Maybe I'll just have I'll just one. Anyway, Dungeons and Dragons, man, I love Dungeons and Dragons. It was so much fun, especially as an actor, because I was like, this is like 77 through 79 that I played when it was really just hitting its stride. I had the original boxed set of basic D&D that I ended up selling for a pretty penny. And I still have the deities and demigods book with the Cthulhu mythos that is rare because um, H.P. Lovecraft's estate sued Gygax and Kuntz for copyright infringement, and thereafter they in other editions of deities and demigods they had to remove. They could no longer have the Cthulhu mythos. Anyway, damn, I love playing D&D. I miss my D&D friends. They were all so creative. And I wrote a few things about it. When I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, my main character was a female paladin named Athenacles, like Heracles for the glory of Hera, only her patron goddess was Athena, so Athenacles for the glory of Athena. Later, I remade her as a paladin on World of Warcraft, a retribution paladin. But when we were just playing Dungeons and Dragons, after a while, she went up in level and acquired quite a lot of wealth from adventuring. I realized early on that no matter how you try to protect your hoard of gold, or how it is guarded, or how many lethal traps you set, some other character will find a way to rip you off. So for a long time, she had everything she had changed to copper pieces and put all this vast sea of copper in her own heavily guarded dungeon with a manticora that she had bought as a baby, and then she cast an enlarge spell on it so that now it's the size of an adult manticora, but it's still a kitten, so it's permanently cute. Anyway, the Manticora camped out on Athenacles' hoard of copper, occasionally eating the odd thief and leaving the parts that she didn't like. And later I switched to a completely different strategy, polar opposite, based on the idea that you really don't own anything that you can't carry at a dead run. A dead run. I converted all that copper to gems and had them sewn into Athenacles' saddle. A paladin always has a special relationship with their warhorse. Sometimes it's even telepathic. They take pride in having armor that matches your horse's barding. Now, Athenacles had a natural 18 double-aught strength, so she wielded a two-handed sword, Her companion was Bogest, who was a simple fighter who was always aspired to be a paladin, but his charisma wasn't high enough. At about level 6, Bo pulled a card from a deck of many things and suddenly became Belgest. Nothing else changed, none of his stats changed, just his sex. He became she. I was playing a transgendered character before there was even a name for it. In one dungeon that I was DMing, my friend Oto's his ranger character Miriam duplicated herself, and he went on to play them both um, identical from that point, but as separate characters. That was interesting. When the witch class came out in Dragon magazine, I immediately created a witch character named Glinda. I had Daryl, who was a half elf thief who had a comeliness of 100%, but a 3 charisma. It was interesting to play. He was always getting into trouble with women. I started him out as neutral, but he soon began acting almost chaotic evil. You really get to know people and their values when you play D&D with them. Um, I put a Tesseract room in one of my dungeons, and my friends actually figured it out. Um, when I played Dungeons and Dragons, no, I already did that about the alignment system. Um, I read up on the spell, but never got to use it. It is necessary to know the real name of the demon in order to summon and hold it. The mage then starts to recite the spell, which is called Spirit Rack, which causes great pain to the demon. The mage will try to negotiate a deal with the demon. If the mage finishes reciting the spell, the demon will be banished to its home plane of existence for a long time. So it is in the demon's best interest to strike a deal. No wonder parents were terrified that this was all satanic. Um, a dominate spell appears in role playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons and World of Darkness. The idea is to assert your own will over that of your subject. Obi-Wan does this when he says, "These aren't the droids you're looking for." This can be done in real life. I've done it a couple of memorable times, and it can work just like you think. It is considered borderline gray, if not actually black magic. It is one of the Hindu siddhis. The fallback is, and I never had this happen, if they see through the spell, they immediately realize what you were attempting and react in a hostile way. There is a quality of soul called presence, which determines how successful one can be at this. When it is used for pure evil, you get a Charles Manson or a Jim Jones. Um, in Dungeons and Dragons, there were these rare high level artifacts, the Bag of Holding and the Portable Hole. The, the Bag of Holding was like a TARDIS. It was much bigger inside, and one fellow had a whole mansion with servants in his. The Portable Hole was a 6-foot diameter black silk cloth that would create an extra dimensional space wherever placed. If a portable hole were to be placed in a bag of holding, it would create a rift in the space time continuum or a black hole that would suck in the entire planet. Important safety tip. Um, Nothing is so like a group of rabbis debating the Talmud as a group of Dungeons and Dragons players debating rules. Um, let's see. What I'm doing is scanning through my notes. I did a search through my book, Callisti, of all the references that I had made to Dungeons and Dragons. Um, Game of Thrones is like a Dungeons and Dragons session where the DM entices the party with hints of great treasure and then kills everyone off one by one. Almost every episode at the end, this is me. Screw you, George R. R. Martin, or whatever producer is responsible for that disgusting, horrible thing you just did to a perfectly decent, though humanly flawed character whom I had become personally invested so much hope and affection in, and you go and you do that. Well, Mr. Neckbeard, I am thoroughly, really, really through this time. That was absolutely, positively the last time I will ever watch your sick little, and then there I am the next Sunday feeling like such a whore popcorn and just hating my weak resolve. Um, I learned interesting things about my friends playing Dungeons and Dragons with them. Snacks were fundamental. Coke, Dr. Pepper, root beer, Doritos, potato chips, a couple of pizzas, one pepperoni, and one cheese only. My favorite part of the game was actually the pregame generation of characters. When we were first starting, I went with the idea that you rolled up your stats and then based on those decide what class of character to play. I had paladins, fighters, magic users, my witch, my one thief. I had humans, dwarves, a half elf. Never had a hobbit or a half orc. I had a balance of male and female characters, but my most powerful ones were female. My female friend Kenny's most powerful characters were male. None of us had only male or female characters exclusively. Some, like Mike, only played thieves and assassins. Some only wanted to be mages. I rolled up way more characters than I ever played. Someone had to be grudgingly convinced to bring a cleric. We tended to have too many magic users and not enough fighters and paladins to tank. Thieves and assassins targeting their own party were dealt with harshly. Wandering off on your own was almost guaranteed death. Use of poisons was highly restricted. Nobody used psionics. To prove a point, I once DM'd a dungeon for an all assassin party, but the real trick was that each party member had a murder contract on another member of the party. So, boy, that was a fun night. Um, let's see. We added rules to the original Dungeons and Dragons rules. One example was the critical hit. If you rolled a natural 20 on a 20-sided die, you not only inflicted the normal damage of your weapon, but you rolled percentile dice on the crit hit table to see exactly what you did, and that can be everything from just double damage to blinding, decapitation, cutting off a limb. If you screwed up and rolled a 1, you had to roll on the fumble table, which could be anything from dropping your weapon to crit hitting your nearest ally. I remember that. Yeah, I fumbled a few times. Anyway, Dungeons and Dragons. If you know anybody who still wants to play, I think I've still got a four-sided die because I keep stepping on it in the middle of the night. It's a little pyramid-shaped thing. Ouch. Boy, the memories it brings back.